Good morning, students. Hope you all had a very great Christmas and first term is over. Let's hope for the best result, and second term is very important. If it is descriptive, well and good. Otherwise, if it is objective also, we have to concentrate more, isn't it? So let's start our second term. So we have already covered two chapters which are there in the second term. What were they? One is microbes in human welfare and another one is human health and diseases. The next chapter we started, that is organism and population, but I couldn't complete the whole. In between I stopped, isn't it? So the one which we have already started, during this vacation we will try to recap and then we will continue with the chapters which were not covered. We will be slowly continuing. Okay, so that one I will deal in detail. What we have already covered, make sure that you are watching the videos. Okay, so you are watching the videos and trying to understand the concept better. I will just give a short recap of what we have done. Since it's the first class, I am not going to burden you with a lot of new topics. So what we have already discussed, just we can have a short recap of the same today. Okay, and then from tomorrow, to some extent, the recap most probably I will try to complete, and then the third day we will start with the the uncovered portion. Slowly we will be doing. Okay, so make sure that everyone is learning then and there. Second term, as I have already told you, it's very important. So let's start the chapter, that is organism and population. Just we can review what we have already done, we can revise it. Okay. So organism and population. Okay. So organism and population, in this what we are going to discuss. So we are going to start today organism and population. Just revise what we have already discussed. So this chapter is dealing with the basic concept of ecology. So what is ecology? Ecology, everyone knows, it's a branch of science. It's a branch of science which is studying between something. So what are the things? It can be categorized into three things. Okay. So what are the three things? The first is interaction among organism. Interaction among organism means among human beings, among cats, among dogs. So within the same organisms, the interaction for food, for shelter, for everything, how they are interacting, that is dealt in ecology. Thereafter, between organism, how we are depending on plants and how plants are depending on us and how we are depending on other animals. So between organism, the interaction, that is also coming under what? That is also coming under ecology. Okay, and along with this, when you are saying interaction of these organisms with the abiotic environment. So what is the abiotic environment? Non-living things. So what are the non-living things? It can be soil, it can be water, it can be air. That interaction, that one we call it as what? We call them as ecology. Okay, so ecology is a branch of science that is dealing with interaction among organisms, that is ourselves, between organism, between we depending on other organisms, either for food or for cloth. We are depending on others, isn't it? So we are interacting with other in the same space. We are depending for competition is there, also for food, isn't it? So like a dog and a cat, if one food is there, so both may fight. So the stronger will win over anyhow. So the interaction between them is all coming under what? Along with the abiotic factors, that is the soil and the water, is coming under what? It's coming under ecology. Okay, so when you are saying this ecology concerns with 4 levels. How many levels? 4 levels. Okay, so what are the 4 levels? One is organism, second one is population, third one is communities, and the fourth one is biome. Okay, so first is organism, second one is population, third one is communities, and the fourth one is biome. Okay, now we are going to see one by one. So just to brief it, I can tell you, organism is the individual, only one, like human is an organism. Okay, only one human, one cow, one dog, one, it's an organism or an individual. When these organisms, that particular group of individuals, like human means it's all humans, cat means it's all cats, dog means it's all dogs, when they are joining together, they form a population. What they form? They form a next level, that is the population. So the first one is the lowest level. What is it? It is individual. Who is it? It's organism. When these organisms group together, they form a more bigger one, that one we call it as what? We call it as a population. Next, this population, when you are seeing many types of populations like cat population, dog population, means the plant population, insect population and the human population, all when they are combining together, they are forming a community. Understood? So when different species of populations interact with each other, they form a community. So one is an individual, many individuals together form a population like human population, cat population, like that. And when there are many types of individuals, many different populations, when they group together and they are occupying a region, so that one forms a community. What do they form? They form a community. Now this community, when they interact with the abiotic factors. What are the abiotic factors? I told you air, water, soil are all abiotic factors. When they are interacting with them, they form ecosystem. What they are forming? Ecosystem. So as you go higher, the organism, the number increases. Okay. So organism, population, community, ecosystem. So ecosystem is somewhat bigger, isn't it? You can find when the abiotic factors as well as the biotic components are interacting, then they form an ecosystem. And what is a biome? The largest, bigger ecosystem, we call it as what? The biome, which consists of diverse form of living organism. It's a bigger one, like a desert or like a tropical forest if you are speaking. So that all becomes biome. Okay. And what is biosphere? The whole earth, when you are saying the all living organism wherever inhabiting, that forms what? A biosphere. A sphere consisting of living organism at different places forms the biosphere. So that is a very big level, isn't it? So basically speaking, we can categorize them into 4 levels. One is organism, second one is population, third one is community, and fourth one is biomes. Okay. Ecosystem also is there, but since it is in NCERT, it has been done like this, we will go with it. Okay. So organism, population, communities, ecosystem and biomes are the different levels of what? Levels of organization. Okay. Now moving on to levels of organism one by one, those who have not jot down these chapter, the points, please make sure that you are taking the notes. Okay. Levels of organism. So first is organism. Organization, when you are saying, first is what? Organism. Every individual of a species is an organism. So any individual species, we call it as what? Call it as, it's a basic unit of ecology, because they are only the starting, like cell is the basic unit of life. Here organization, when you are saying, if you are considering organism, is the basic unit for forming this organization. Biosphere has to form, means the first starting should be what? Starting should be the organism. Okay. So this is the basic unit of what? Ecology. Ecology in its level deals with adaptation for survival, reproduction in their environment or habitat. So they have to stay, they are interacting among themselves. Why they are interacting? In order to survive, in order to reproduce, so that their progeny exists and it continues in the earth. Okay. So that is the main importance of what? This organisms. They are there for what? Survival. They are reproducing so that they can stay in their habitat, okay, for long. Next is your population. As we have already said, it consists of individuals of same species at a given place. So at a given place, like Patripala population, if you are saying all the human population of Patripala, all heads you count, that is the population. What is the population of your class when you are speaking? So 23 for 12C, 24 for 12C, and for 12 AB, I think it is 29, right? So that is the population. They have intra-specific competition for basic needs. Intra-specific means what? Intra-specific means within the group there is a competition. Within the human beings there is a competition. In your class also you have a competition, isn't it? So students used to compete for maybe rank is the factor with which they are competing, or in some competitions you are competing. Here when you are speaking, when you are seeing this population of a same species, they are within themselves competing for food, they are competing for shelter, Okay, for the survival they have to compete. The one who wins will be surviving and the one who cannot will die. So within a group, when you are saying there exists a competition. So like dogs, if you are having one bone only, you can find many dogs fighting together to get that bone pieces, and the one who is strong will be getting it. So there is a competition between them. So when the competition is within the same group, then we call it as intra-specific. And when it becomes between two different categories, then we call it as interspecific. What do we call? Intra within, inter between. Okay, so that one you have to. So basic needs, organisms are competing with themselves in a population to survive. Okay, so that is regarding your population. Next, moving on to communities. So what is communities? Communities, I told you, it is an assemblage of population of different species. Cat, dog, plant, human, everything comes in an area. And they are interacting among themselves, then they form what? They form a community. A biotic community has distinct species composition and structure. Yeah, every community they have a different. The one which is there in the semi-arid region, desert region, pond will be different, isn't it? So they are having distinct species composition, which is found in the desert may not be found in the forest. So it depends. The communities varies from place to place. Okay, so that is the next point. Last, biome. It is a large unit, I told you. The ecosystem with all living organism is forming what? A biome. It's a large unit, has major vegetation type and associated fauna in a specific climatic zone, particular climatic zone. So biome, when you are seeing examples are savanna, tropical rainforest, thereafter temperate deciduous forest, coniferous forest, grasslands, deserts, tundra region, permanent ice region. So these are different regions where there are particular sort of climatic condition, and the organism which are present over here, you cannot find it over here. Why? Because they are adapted to stay in that particular climatic zone. Okay, so then they are forming what? A larger group, larger than the ecosystem as well. Ecosystem is only a small part, you see. Now when it becomes bigger in size, then we call them as what? The biomes. And these biomes, when you are speaking, it's the largest unit of organization, and it contains major vegetation type. Vegetations means, what is that? The flora, that is the plants, and fauna. Fauna is what? The animals in some particular climatic zones. Okay. Seasonal variation and annual variation in precipitation lead to biome formation. So there in that particular area, how the season is varying annually based on the rainfall, based on that only the plants which are growing there as well as the animals which are staying there is being determined. That's what they are saying. Plants which are growing there as well as the animals which can inhabit in that particular depends on what? It depends upon the temperature, condition, rainfall, everything in that particular area. So that determines one set of biome. Okay, so like that biomes are classified into these many types, and it has been given in the form of a graphical representation, wherein you have to learn this one. They will give you A, B, C, D and all. So A, B, C, D, blank will be there. You should know which part, which biomes are distributed. Okay, animals and all we are not learning, so it's fine. So that is one thing. Okay, Arctic and alpine tundra, coniferous forests, temperate forests, grasslands, deserts are different examples of what? This biomes. So you should know what are the examples of biomes. Okay, next we are moving on to the abiotic factors which are responsible for the survival, okay, for the existence of organisms. So what are the abiotic factors? The first is your temperature. Temperature, you know the temperature, isn't it? So average temperature, you know, it varies seasonally. Seasonally the temperature will be varying. How the temperature is in winter will not be in summer, it will not be in the monsoon, isn't it? It varies. Decreases from equator to the pole. You know, when the temperature, if you are seeing in the equator, it will be the highest because direct rays of the sun. But when you move upwards, what is happening? The temperature is slowly going on decreasing. When you reach the polar region, it will be minus, isn't it? So it's what is happening is that it is decreasing. Along with that, it is also seen that in one particular area also, like India, if you are seeing, there also in the center the temperature will not be in the Himalayas, isn't it? So it decreases as you move upward, the temperature falls. Okay, temperature ranges from sub-zero to about 50 degrees Celsius. In tropical forest and all, it can go up to what, 50 degree Celsius. It's very difficult. Room temperature we know 37 degree, so 50, imagine how hot it is, isn't it? So below 0 degrees Celsius also it can go in polar regions and all, glaciers, you can find it's minus, isn't it? So functions and distribution of organisms especially depends on temperature. Some organisms which are present in the polar region, if you bring them here and you want to grow them, means keep them here, it's not possible, because they are adapted to that particular temperature. Okay, so functioning is based on that particular temperature. In that particular temperature only they will be more functional. Okay, so that is the next thing. And organisms are eurythermal and stenothermal. What do you mean by the term eurythermal? Eurythermal means they can withstand a wide range of temperature. Means if it is, the temperature range is higher also, they can, and if it is low also, like bacteria, when you see, they can survive in ice, as well as when you increase the temperature also in the volcano also you can find what is there, the bacteria are there. Okay, so like that, some organisms when you are saying they are eurythermal, they can withstand a wide range of temperature difference, no issues. And some are stenothermal, even if there is a small change in the temperature they cannot survive. Okay, they die, they cannot adapt it. So that sort of organisms are called as stenothermal. Okay, and global warming, you know, this is creating a great hindrance to the survival of many organisms as the temperature goes on rising, especially the stenothermal animals and all, which can only withstand a narrow range of temperature, they cannot survive, and they slowly their number is going down. Okay, so that is regarding your temperature. So temperature plays a major role in the survival of the organism. Okay, the next abiotic factor is your water. So water, you know, it's a very important abiotic factor without which life is not possible. Now water, if you see, influence life on an organism, and it cannot sustain without water. Yeah, every organism needs water for its survival, for its metabolism. Productivity and distribution also depends upon water. Plant, wherever you can find water, there are plants, there are animals, there are humans, isn't it? So productivity, the distribution mainly depends upon water. Where there is drinking water, there only you can find the organisms are surviving, their greeneries are there, and there are different faunas. Faunas means the animals also are available there. Okay, so quality of water is very important. Some plants, some organisms reside in some particular pH, some particular chemical composition should be there in the soil, in the water. Salinity also, some organisms thrive in marine water, some in fresh water. It depends. So chemical composition, the salinity, the pH of water plays a great influence in the type of flora as well as the fauna. And you know, water is very important for the survival of aquatic organisms. They are living in water, that is their habitat, isn't it? And organism based on withstanding salinity, it can be classified into two again. One is euryhaline and second one is stenohaline. As eurythermal, stenothermal, here also euryhaline means they can withstand a wide range of salinity. Saline range, if it is changing also to some extent, they will not burst, they can survive for longer time. And stenohaline means what? They are having very narrow range. If at all there is a small change in the salt concentration, they cannot survive. So they can withstand only narrow range, that is steno. Eury means what? They can withstand wide range of salinity. Okay, so that is water. The next is your light. Light is playing a major role in survival, isn't it? So light, when you are saying what is light necessary for, you know, without light photosynthesis is not possible. Without photosynthesis, plants are not there. If plants are not there, obviously the next level of organization, that is the consumers, primary, secondary, tertiary, will not be there, isn't it? So producers are very, very important. And for the producers to produce food, light is an important factor for photosynthesis. So sciophytes needs these sciophytes are plants which can survive in very low intensities of light. So deep under the forest and all, in the bottom layers, they can and all survive because they need only less amount of light. But some they need a huge, not much intensity of light is needed. Okay, animals are diurnal and seasonal. Diurnal means, you know, they can what is that, in the morning, as well as nocturnal is during night. Some animals are diurnal, means they are active during day. Nocturnals, they are active during night. So light plays a major role, okay, for the survival of the organisms. Seasonal light intensity variation, photoperiodism. Photoperiod means for flowering and all, for the plants to grow, there should be particular duration they are exposed to light. If they are not getting that sort of light, they will not flower. If there is no flowers, there is no fruits. If there is no fruits, there is no seeds. If there is no seeds, there is no next generation, and it's difficult. So for that, it is very, very important for the light is needed for the timing of forage. Forage means for to go in search of food. For going in search of food, if there is no light, it is difficult. They cannot. Diurnal animals, when you are seeing those who are active during days, it is very difficult. For migrating from one place to another, light plays a various role. For reproduction, light plays a various role. Okay, so this light is playing a major role in all these purposes. Okay, reproduction as plants, when you are seeing pollination has to take place, attraction, flowers and all, when you are seeing, for that and all, what is needed? Light is needed. The next is distribution of red, brown and green algae at different depth depends on light. You know, there are different zones in the sea. So based on the light intensity, you can find different algae are categorizing different groups. Okay, so that is just a general information. Next, the last is your soil as an abiotic factor. So nature and property of soil in place depends on climate, weathering process and soil type, isn't it? So a soil in Himalaya, a soil in plains, a soil in a plateau, it depends upon what is the type of the parent rock there, and from that weathering only that would have produced, isn't it? So based on the climatic range, based on the parent rock, based on the weathering property, only the property of the soil depends, soil types depends there. Okay, so the soil composition is very important. Grain size, whether it is clay very small, or it is sandy somewhat bigger, or it is loamy, mediocre, moderate. Okay, these all depends. Means clay means you can understand that percolation of water, it will take a lot of time. Loamy, it can percolate to some extent very easily. Sandy means very easy. If you pour, all of a sudden it will percolate, because the sand particles, they are separated. So percolation will be more. But at the same time, they will evaporate also fast. But percolation of water means the water to enter in will be faster in sandy. When you are seeing clay, it's clubbed together, isn't it? So to percolate, it will be difficult, so that you can find it is marshy somewhat. Loamy soil also to some extent percolation. For garden soil, loamy soil is also good for percolation. But the more percolation is noted where? In the sandy soil. Okay. So percolation rate, water holding capacity, who will be holding water for a longer time? The clay soil will hold water for a longer time, because they are made up of small particles and they have a property of addition which cling together water for a long time. But sandy soil, can they hold water? Percolation is good, but they cannot hold water for a long time. You can find it can easily get evaporated. Okay, so that is regarding your water, your depending on the soil types, they can be different rate of percolation, different rate of water holding capacity. Based on that, you can find different types of plants in different regions. Some grows in sandy, some grows in gloomy, some grows in clay. Crops varies from place to place based on the soil types. Okay, and physical and chemical properties determine the type of plant that can be grown, and type of animals depend on those plants. So plants which are growing, based on that only the animals which are depending on that plants will be present on those areas. Okay, bottom sediments in aquatic condition determine the type of benthic animals. So when these soils are being taken by the rainwater, they are going and depositing under the sea, they are going and depositing under the ponds or lakes. When they are settling down, that settled down particles, we call it as what? The sediments. And based on the what type of soil is getting settled down, you can find there are different type of benthic animals. Benthic animals means the animals which are found at the lower level of waters. So that one we call it as what? Benthic animals. So based on the sediment, that is based on the what type of soil sediments are there, based on that you can find the benthic animals are there. Okay. So in the next class we will be discussing about response to environmental condition. Today what we have discussed about the different levels of organization, Yes, so levels of organizations were covered, and thereafter we covered about the abiotic factors which are responsible for the organisms to survive, and which determines the ecosystem, which determines the community, and determines the population surviving over there. Okay, with this let me stop for today. Have a great day. Thank you.